Hey, how you guys doing? It's AG the Dad. Thanks for tuning in on an episode of The Morning Coffee. Today I want to get a little bit personal. Um, I want to talk about concussions. And I don't think the spotlight on them is quite put on it hard enough and deep enough. And I don't, I just want to enlighten people on what concussions are about. I experienced one, and by no means is this medical advice. I'm just talking about my experience. This podcast and all other podcasts, I'm just talking about my experiences. So don't necessarily take them literal. That's my little disclaimer. But concussions, I think, man, every single concussion is different. Every single concussion is different. Um, so what I experienced and what somebody else experienced is probably going to be way different. But the one thing that I want to kind of stress to everybody when it comes to this concussion thing, um, as an outsider looking in, you would not necessarily know that somebody is experiencing a concussion, because they might look really normal. And when I was before I experienced a concussion, I I just thought, okay, you hit your head, you shook up a little bit, uh, get back on the playing field, that kind of stuff. You really don't have the same um, respect when you haven't experienced it, because going through it, um, some concussions are probably just like that, where it's you get shook up a little bit, and then you're back on the playing field or whatever you do, um, and everything's funky dory. But then there's the ones where you actually have post concussion syndrome, and what that is after the fact you might experience ringing in the ears, um, vertigo, can't really see right, can't see straight, feeling weak, unbalanced. Um, Definitely could experience memory loss. Um, Man, there's a slew of them. If you go on YouTube University, um, there's a lot of information out there that will tell you a little bit more about concussions. But with my concussion, um, yeah, I experienced those are some of the symptoms that I experienced, and it was easily mistaken as something else, especially when you're trying to describe the feelings that you're going through to a doctor. The reason I say that is because with your memory loss, you might not tell the doctor you hit your head and still be giving him all of these symptoms. Like in my case, um, if you guys have been around with Shit Talking Sundays since the very beginning, you will know that my father passed away a few months ago, and I had to go through that. I'm not sure if I told everybody that about a month and a half after that, his sister passed, and I also had to go through that. And so when I told the doctor, when I finally went to the doctor because I wasn't feeling right, um, I had forgot to mention that I had hit my head. The doctor asked me what kind of symptoms I'm having, and what kind of experiences have I had in the last few months, any traumatic things, that kind of stuff, because the symptoms that I was giving him were in his mind, maybe depression and anxiety. And concussion can be very easily can be confused with the two. Um, and when it finally dawned on me, because maybe I should back up a little bit. The symptoms that I were having were um, the next day, I really was very anxious, um, had very poor sleep, and I chalk it up to I had to catch a flight that next morning, so I just chalked it up to I was anxious to be going on this flight to get this over with, or um, flying. Sometimes you don't want to fly, but anyway, I went there. I had a little bit of anxiety when I was there, and like I said, I chalked it up to I was going on a trip, so I had stuff to get and stuff to do. So after my flight, when I came back, and mind you, I didn't really get a whole lot of good sleep while I was there, and when I got back, I didn't go to bed till about midnight. And when I went to bed at midnight, I woke up about an hour later with the most extreme adrenaline rush you can think of. And I jumped up out of bed like I heard a burglar breaking in or something. It was crazy. And I was like that every day until I went to the doctor. So I told him the symptoms that I was having because I was having a lot of anxiousness, anxiety, sleeplessness, memory loss. There was a whole slew of things. And when I finally got, to the doctor, I was telling him, and like I said, with the memory loss, I didn't mention that I had hit my head. And so he just took the information that I gave him in regards to my father passing away and my auntie, and just said, "Man, you're going through a supreme um, depression right now, and maybe some anxiety of maybe you're thinking about death or something." And I was like, "Nah, I don't think that's it, but okay, maybe that makes sense." So they prescribed me a couple of things to try to help with those issues, and they didn't help at all. And this sleeplessness thing that I went through went on for maybe 15, 20 days, of maybe getting an hour of sleep at night and then maybe some cat naps during the day. And after I did all that, um, I had went to the ER one time because, man, lack of sleep make you, confused a little bit. I was noticing that it was starting to affect my mobility and my balance. Um, and mind you, I've never experienced a concussion before, so I didn't know what I was going through. It didn't even dawn on me that I had a concussion because remember now, we're 2 weeks since I hit my head. You think you hit your head. Most times you hit your head, ow, you scratch your head, and a few minutes later the pain goes away and usually no side effects. But oh, let me not mention the headaches. Um, because you're going to get those too in a concussion. And remember, this is not medical advice; it's just I'm telling you my experience. And when I went to the doctor, they kind of thought that maybe you're taking some low dosage of the medication that your doctor prescribed you, so let's up them a little bit because I was still remember taking very low dosage. And I said, okay, if you think that's going to work, but I really didn't think I was suffering from depression. Not saying that I don't miss my father and my auntie. I miss them dearly, dearly, and I think about them every single day because I mean, you're going to experience this. There's a lot of firsts, holidays, all that. But anyway, um, the fact that you go through all this when you're done, um, you go to back home I'm going through, trying. I up my dose, try to deal with it the way they asked me to, and let me tell you, that didn't work. If you're not suffering from depression, depression medication is not going to work for you, and I wasn't depressed, so I finally made an appointment with another doctor, and it, throughout trying to think of what was happening to me. Um, People, friends, and family, and I have some professional folks in the medical field that were, you know, I was talking to, and they said maybe it could be a concussion because you hit your head. You need to tell your doctor. So when I made this next appointment, I told the doctor I hit my head, told him all the symptoms that I was having. I was telling him, I'm not depressed, none of that. And the doctors gave me a concussion test. And then there was the aha moment. So they changed my medication, and almost instantly, once the medication kicked in after about 30 minutes, um, most of the issues were controllable. They were still there, but they weren't as severe. It took the edge off of some of the problems that I were experiencing, the anxiety, this, the mind racing, the not being able to sleep, all that. It helped with that. Um, there was a couple different medications that they prescribed, and I'm not going to get off into the kind of medications just because I'm not going to necessarily promote one or the other, because like I say, all concussions are different, and I think that people should, just be very informative to your medical advisor when you're uh, going through it. um, but anyway, once they gave me the medication, everything um, got tolerable. Um, but the question that I had, and most of you are going to probably have, if you're experiencing concussion effects weeks or even months after uh, ex- having a head injury, um, the symptoms of concussions can last days, years, months. The brain works weird in its own way. And even speaking about that, um, when you the mental loss, the memory loss, it was so crazy that I went through. It was imagine this. Imagine you're watching a program, or you're talking to a friend while you're watching a program, and they ask you, "Hey man, who's all on the show?" And this is your favorite show. Um, you try to tell your friend a couple of the main actors, and this side of the brain is telling you, uh, you know it. This side of the brain is telling you that I don't know what you're talking about. But this side is telling you, I watch this all the time. So how does this not make sense? And this side of the brain was, I don't know. I mean, so there's points in time where you might feel like you're going crazy. Like, no, I know this. What is going on? So just understand, the one thing that comforted me was always hearing the words brain injuries in a lot of cases are temporary because your body is very resilient, and it heals itself to some degree. Fortunately, for me, I would like to say that I've bounced back pretty well. So that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about this journey, because your friends and family that are around you, with all that being said, um, when they look at you, you look normal. But trust me, um, if somebody tells you they've experienced a concussion, be patient. They really are overwhelmed in the brain. There's a whole lot going on at the same time. And unless you experience it, nobody can explain to you the feeling because I truly thought I knew um, what concussion was, and no. And everybody that I've talked to once I had this happen to me, I wanted to learn more about it. Um, Everybody's experience was different. No two were the same, but they all had similarities. We all had some of the same symptoms. We went through them maybe in different orders, um, and you know, um, just I just want you to understand that it gets better. Um, I don't know if somebody out there needs to hear this. When they say the one thing I did find out, you know, when your friends or family or medical people are concerned about you and they ask you, "Are you thinking about hurting yourself or others?" Um, they ask you that because they want to sleep better at night, knowing that they asked you, and it made a lot of sense to me. But in the grim reality of it, um, with concussions, when I seen you hear on the news all the time where you have football players committing suicide, and I think that you would never know. So there's some signs that you should heed. Especially after somebody gets hit in the head. If they're not sleeping well, man, that's probably the main red flag. Um, Lack of sleep deprivation, um, from my experience of going through it, and like I said, this is just my experience of it, not my medical opinion. Um, Sleep deprivation started affecting um, speech. Um, it started affecting um, the way you walk, um, the things that you see and hear. Um, so take heed because when you can't sleep because your mind is rushing 1,000 miles a minute, you should, just be patient and be a little concerned because when your mind is racing that much, that fast for that long, all kinds of thoughts go through your mind. And I just want people to know out there, you need to be strong and understand it will heal. And I know it's hard to it's easier said than done because when I was going through it, that's all they would tell me. And I think the reassurance of that it will get better was the factor for me because every day there was improvement. It just wasn't at the speed that I wanted it to be. So just be patient out there and understand that, you know, man, uh, people out there who are going through concussions, um, if they were going to hurt themselves or others, I don't know if they would tell you. Um, Only because, and I mean more so if they were going to hurt themselves, because I think that if someone was going to hurt themselves, um, why would they want to tell you to put you through the misery? I think someone who talks about wanting to harm themselves is looking for help, and you should open your hands, your arms, and help because um, man, messing with the mind is a serious thing. So I can understand where mental issues, you can't understand it until you go through a concussion. I mean, I have a whole different respect for people who went through that have mental challenges. I'm glad that mine was just, very short term memory loss that came back, and but it was a crazy, crazy experience to go through. So you know, when you talk to your friends and family, when it comes to concussions, please, um, pay attention to them. Concussion. You know, you get irritated, irritable. Um, Man, you get grouchy. Man, there's a slew of things. If you feel like you're experiencing a concussion, or if you hit your head, don't be afraid to go see the doctor. Most of us, like I said, we've hit our head so many times that we're used to just whew, man, that hurt. Shake it off. All right, I'm good. And don't think about it. And let me tell you, um, sometimes those hard hits, man, they have very long lasting results, I guess. Chime in, man. Let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on concussion? What are your thoughts on any medical thing? Um, I was talking to also one of my friends, and she has MS. I'm just going to call her a MS warrior, and because of the concussion that I went through, every now and then I'm going to take a moment to just touch bases with you about certain things. And with her, because MS is such a big thing out there, and there's not a whole lot of talk about, especially some of the treatments and the medications that are out there. Um, I'm going to try to dedicate a show for MS, and more so, I'm probably going to just help produce her show on MS. So please stay tuned and listen for that. That'll be coming up probably in early part of next year, probably in January. And the executioner and I, we have a couple of other little um, podcasts that we want to do in regards to wrestling and sports. And man, you guys all remember the fly that's on this cup. Um, he's going to become very famous. Mark my words, because I plan on taking him to a whole nother level. So we're going to bring him out. We're going to do a little show, and you're going to like it. It's really good. It's Man, I'm so juiced. We got a lot of things that are planned for the new year. Um, I heard that the Two Live Crew is coming back. If you haven't heard about that, yes, they will be back. Not necessarily all the original members, because some of them have passed. R.I.P. to them, man. They were solid individuals. Um, um, I'm gonna probably reach out at some point next year. We're gonna probably reach out and talk to uh, the King of High, Afro Man. Um, you know, because my friend, the executioner, is so um, passionate about wrestling, um, we have a legend that we're gonna reach out to in the wrestling world that you're not gonna want to miss out on. Also, so stay tuned. I know I left the concussion thing pretty rapidly, and just remember, concussions will put you all over the place, and I'm still healing from it. So every now and then, if I seem to be a little off task, please forgive me. But yeah, I am getting to where I feel a lot better, and that's why sometimes you haven't seen my podcast as regular as you need to be. But I hope this was helpful for some people. And remember, like I said, MS is a story on MS is going to be coming out. I'm AG the Dad. This is the Morning Coffee. And man, stay blessed out there. All right. Peace.